What if Mimic the Predator wasn't the hero, but the villain all along? This recap is about to start a war in the comments, and as the film begins, we learn about a pandemic that has spread across New York, caused by cockroaches and leading to the deaths of many children. Dr. Peter, the head of the health ministry, is deeply troubled by the crisis and seeks a solution. He reaches out to Dr. Susan, a genetic engineer with the expertise to handle the situation. After nearly 3 months of research, Dr. Susan develops a special breed of bugs designed to prey on cockroaches. These genetically engineered bugs are programmed to consume the cockroaches and then die off quickly, preventing further infestation. Her experiment proves successful, and in a short time, the city is rid of the cockroach outbreak, saving many children's lives. Everything seems fine, and Dr. Peter is highly impressed by Susan's work. The two eventually get married. The story then jumps ahead 3 years. Inside a church, a priest encounters a mysterious figure and becomes frightened. He hurriedly makes his way to the rooftop, but the eerie, shadowy figure follows him. In a tragic turn, the priest loses his footing and falls to his death. Chewie, a young boy living nearby, witnesses the entire incident. The unknown figure then drags the priest's body back inside the church. The next morning, the police arrive to investigate and discover multiple dead bodies. A doctor examining the scene suggests that the deaths may have been caused by yellow fever or another epidemic, prompting authorities to call Dr. Peter to assess the situation. Dr. Peter suspects another pandemic is emerging and orders the church to be sealed off to prevent further spread. Meanwhile, Dr. Susan leaves her lab and encounters 2 children selling insects they collected from a garden. She casually takes the insects, but doesn't pay much attention to them. However, as she prepares to leave, she notices one of the boxes shaking violently. Puzzled, she opens it and discovers an insect as large as a rat. While its size is surprising, what truly shocks her is its appearance. It resembles the Judas bug she created 3 years ago, which were supposed to die after consuming cockroaches. To confirm her suspicions, Susan re-examines her old research and conducts a DNA test on the insect. The results reveal that it is indeed a Judas bug. Not only are they still alive, but they have also grown to a dangerous extent. Concerned, Susan begins investigating the matter, unaware that a hooded figure is secretly watching her lab. As she becomes distracted, the figure steals the insect and disappears. Alarmed, Susan informs her husband, Peter, about the discovery, explaining that a child had given her an insect identical to the Judas bug. What worries her most is that the insect vanished mysteriously while she was examining it. Peter, equally disturbed, decides they must conduct further research. First, they need to find another specimen. Susan tracks down the children who had brought her insects earlier. One of them mentions encountering the bug in a storeroom at the subway station. Peter and Susan visit the storeroom, only to find it covered in strange webs, evidence that the Judas bugs may be nesting there. Before they can investigate further, a police officer mistakes them for trespassers as they lack a permit to access the storeroom. The situation escalates, but Susan convinces Peter to leave peacefully, assuring the officer they will return with proper authorization. Meanwhile, the child who regularly supplies Susan with insects grows greedy. He believes that if he finds another Judas bug, he could demand a high price. Driven by this idea, he ventures into a small tunnel with another child. Inside, they encounter the same mysterious, overcoat figure responsible for the priest's death. The figure attacks them, and both children are killed. The scene shifts back to Chewie, who had witnessed the priest's murder. For reasons unknown, he sneaks into the church through a window. The next morning, his father discovers that Chewie is missing and frantically begins searching for him, even alerting the police. Meanwhile, someone informs Susan about a strange creature that has been found. She rushes to the site and is shocked to see a massive bug the size of a dog. Doctors confirm that all its organs are functional, proving it is not an ordinary insect, but a creature belonging to a larger colony. Susan is stunned by this revelation and instructs her team to investigate further before informing Peter. Peter and his companions head to the subway tunnel where they first discovered the Judas bugs. As Susan waits anxiously at the subway station, she studies images of the creatures. Late at night, the station empties, but Susan remains. Suddenly, she notices a hooded figure standing nearby. Approaching him, she asks for the time, but the figure remains silent. A sense of dread washes over Susan, and she quickly turns to leave. As she does, the figure also moves, revealing a shocking twist. The hooded individual is not human, but a massive Judas bug. The creature, now evolved to mimic human appearance, spreads its wings and attacks Susan, carrying her away into a tunnel. Inside the tunnel, Peter and his team continue their research when a small Judas bug appears. As Peter instinctively kicks it, the floor beneath him collapses, sending them tumbling below. Meanwhile, Susan regains consciousness and finds herself surrounded by dead bodies. Realizing she is in grave danger, she arms herself and searches for an escape route. As she attempts to flee, a large Judas bug attacks, but she manages to fend it off with a makeshift weapon. Elsewhere in the tunnel, Peter's companion stumbles upon a massive collection of Judas bug eggs. Fear grips him as he realizes the creatures are multiplying at an alarming rate. Before he can escape, a giant Judas bug ambushes and kills him. At the same time, Chewie's father continues searching for his son and unknowingly enters the tunnel where Susan is hiding. While searching, he spots Peter and the police officer, explaining that he is looking for Chewie. When he mentions seeing a woman below, the three of them work together to rescue Susan. As they attempt to pull Susan up, an accident causes a flashlight to fall, attracting the Judas bugs. Before the creatures can attack, the group manages to escape to a subway station. They board a train and shut the doors, but a bug gets trapped in the closing mechanism and is severed in half. The injured creature retaliates, wounding the police officer before being shot and killed. Upon examining the dead bug, Susan makes a horrifying discovery. It has human-like lungs. The Judas bugs have evolved to mimic humans, allowing them to infiltrate society unnoticed. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Susan deduces that if they can eliminate the colony's queen, the entire species will collapse. Meanwhile, Chewie is found alive, his ability to mimic the Judas bug sounds having saved him. However, just as his father rushes to embrace him, a Judas bug kills him. Overwhelmed with grief, Susan and Peter attempt to escape but are surrounded by the creatures. A police officer distracts the bugs, sacrificing himself so that Susan and Chewie can reach safety. Peter devises a desperate plan to destroy the colony. He breaks a gas pipeline in the tunnel, intending to ignite it. His lighter fails, so he uses a metal tool to create a spark, setting off a massive explosion that engulfs the entire tunnel. The blast is so powerful that it causes destruction above ground. With the colony seemingly eradicated, Susan faces the final threat, the queen bug. To protect Chewie, she lures the queen onto the subway tracks. As a train approaches, she jumps to safety at the last second, while the queen is crushed beneath the speeding train. Believing Peter has perished in the explosion, Susan is devastated. However, in a final twist, Peter emerges from the sewers, having survived by diving into the water moments before the blast. Reunited, Susan, Peter, and Chewie embrace, deciding to stay together as a family. The story concludes with a sense of relief, as the terrifying ordeal has finally ended. Got a better theory? Drop it in the comments. The best take gets a shout out in our next video. Thanks for watching.